kind of a silly one to start, but what's your history with throwing a football? I think a lot of people were impressed with your throw against Wisconsin. How much background do you have there?
Very slim. Obviously, got a lot of time on the sideline, so I think I actually throw more than I kick, and yeah, it's kind of a dream come true again. I said in the last interview I did that it was kind of felt like a football player for 5 minutes running, but did it again. That was probably the coolest moment of my life, and then the most depressing moment of my life. But it was really good.
Right here, left, James.
I'm sure certainly the coaches track any number of things, punts inside the 20, all those sorts of things. But how much do you follow not just your outcome, but then the impact that it has? Because in terms of punts inside the 20, what happens to the opposing offense on those drives that ensue is obviously really great results. So, like, how much pride do you take in that, not only when you achieve what you're supposed to do, but then the impact that that has for the defense and the team as a whole?
Oh, it's huge. I try not to focus about that, and obviously trying to think of your own stats. You try and keep that in the back of your mind, and it's a part of my game where I've grown a lot. The one stat that I am looking at is the net punt, and we've been perfect on that all year. We haven't had one return all year. No touchbacks, and that's something I take pride on. Obviously it takes all 11 guys on the field to do that. So really proud of the group that go out and cover the punts. Don't going down there and downing them on the 1-2. It's huge, and all credit goes to them. But like you said, you pin the ball on the 1 and inside the 5 and 10. It's multiple times it's turned into a 3 and out, and they punt, and we get a touchdown off it. So field position battle's huge.
A lot's been said around the program about how good of a snapper Luke Basso is. Can you speak to that, and how does that help you just perform as well as you can?
He's automatic. Like we've seen, he's just lights out, and it helps me. I don't have, that's one less thing I have to worry about because I know he's automatic. I'm not having to worry about if the snap's coming in high or low. I just worry about the punt, go out there, and expect the ball to be there, and it's there every time.
We've seen you employ kind of a low trajectory bouncing punt several times. Is there a name you have for that? And kind of walk us through your history with that and how you've perfected it, because it's worked, I think, with pretty impressive results all year.
Yeah, it kind of just depends on the wind and what the weather's doing. Last weekend we saw one that went down to the 1. They had heavy wind in the face, and we've played a lot of good returners. We're facing one this week, and just we like to keep the ball away from the returner most times, and whether that be putting the ball on the ground or kicking it away from him. And that's just another reason to get the ball away from him and, kicking into a strong wind. I didn't want to hang it up there and get it caught up in the wind, and we get the ball at the 20 versus rolling one down to the 1. So, yeah, just depending on weather.
Following up on that, Coach Loriga talked about how a returner can certainly impact the game, but impact the punter and get into your head, especially when you are playing a returner who is this good and could be that much of a threat. How does that impact, I would say not preparation, obviously preparation's the same, but how does that impact how you is thinking about it strategically? What does go through your mind when the guy on the other end of the field is probably the best in the country at what he does?
Yeah, no, definitely. He's a very dangerous threat. He is the best in the country of what he's done, and he's broken multiple records this year, and that's a big emphasis point. But I try not to get caught up in it. I just like to play the game and stay aggressive, and my goal is to hold him to absolutely 0. So as we've done all year, we've held everyone to 0, and that's the main goal is, just setting up our team in the right spot. And, I trust the guys getting down there and keeping him to 0. But, it is a point of emphasis. But, again, just playing our game and keeping the ball away from him will be the biggest emphasis.
Thank you, Eric. Following up on your mention kind of the weather component, are you constantly throughout the week checking weather projections, and then over the course of a game, are you getting data of this is what the wind is like, or how are you tracking that and kind of putting that into your game?
It's been very inconsistent. So I check it Monday and it says it's raining, and then we get to Friday and Saturday, and it never rains in Austin. But I check it coming towards game day, Thursday, Friday, but. Yeah, I love playing in the rain. Rain's fun, but no wind, please. Just no wind.
Back to James.
Odd question, but because of Iowa's history with punting in particular, and this venue in terms of how close they are and all those sorts of things, but is there an excitement as a punter to go up against a school where one of their mottos is punting is winning? Is there an actual excitement to that for your position? Because your position generally, most fans love the fact that you had 2 games where you were not on the field.
Yep.
So like, but this is a game where, as good as their defense is and other things, but like that they take great pride in punting as a whole.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, I see a lot of the stuff on social media too, and all their fans decked out in punting shirts, and it's it's awesome. It gets me excited and fired up. And I went to a game this weekend, and you know, I was there cheering for punts on both sides. You know, I'm that guy yelling in the stands for a punt. So, you know, it's pretty cool to come up to a really famous team that's known for their punting and had really good punters over the years, and the last one being Tory Taylor that got drafted a couple of years ago. So, yeah, it's pretty exciting.